Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties as we get ready to share some good information with you on tonight. Hello again. My name is Tiger T, and this is Tiger T's podcast that is brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m. I just want to say to all of you, I am glad and elated and enamored that you have joined us on tonight. And on tonight, I want just to uh, supply you with some feedback on the Q&A that was stated through some of the questions that we had on Wednesday night. And so we're going to go into some of those questions that was surmised on Wednesday night. So one of the questions was, which power of attorney should you get? One writer chimed in and stated which power of attorney that you should get. Well, actually, it all depends on your personal situation, right? So, the power of attorney you should use that I would recommend is a basic durable power of attorney, right? And that basic durable power of attorney, as we discussed on the other night, it covers the incapacitation of the human being, of the person, right? And so that's the most important thing. And we talked about that in our last segment. So you can go to our last segment, our last episode, episode 3, and you will find a lot of information concerning the difference of the power of attorneys that I mentioned in the last episode. So basically on tonight, this is a Q&A segment, and we're going to discuss um, those questions, try to give you some answers to those questions. And I will get to the chat in just a few minutes, but I just want to go over to the questions on the other night. And the second question that I received was, can you change your power of attorney at any time? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can change your power of attorney at any time. Um, it depends on your decision, basically. Changing your power of attorney. Uh, you can do that if you feel like that agent or that power of attorney is misrepresenting you, right? Or you feel like you're not comfortable with that POA, power of attorney. So yes, to answer that question, you can actually, you know, do that at any time that you feel like you want to make a change, and sometimes change is good, right? We all need change, but it's very important that we, um, find someone that we can trust, and that's a key term in this entire power of attorney um, thing is to find someone you can trust, not only as your agent, but if in your absence, who can you trust to handle your affairs, your business affairs, right? Someone that's very important that can represent you on all facets, right? Someone that has contributed something into you that you may trust. So most people that are married, they basically trust a spouse to handle their affairs in their absence. And so if you want to go back to my last episode, when I talked about the limited power of attorney, when I talked about the general power of attorney, and I talked about the durable power of attorney. And there are differences in all of those POAs, right? Um, but again, it all depends on you and what you want to do, basically. All right. So another question that I received um, on Wednesday night was, let's see, how old do you have to be to establish a POA? I think I answered that last segment, last episode. Actually, you have to be 18 years old, according to federal law, to represent someone as a POA or to get a power of attorney, right? If you want to establish and initiate a power of attorney, you have to be at least 18 years old, okay? And that's law, that's in stone, right? And so that's what we have to do. Someone wrote, can we change our power of attorney at any time while you're yet living? Absolutely. Long as you have not become incapacitated. That's the key terminology here, ladies and gentlemen. Long as you have not become incapacitated, you can change your power of attorney at any time. Someone wrote about a healthcare power of attorney, right? So basically, that power of attorney covers your health, like you're laying on your sick bed and while you're in your sound mind, right mind, rather, is to make that decision. And that health, it deals with, would you like to have, how would you like to pass? Would you like to have your organs removed or donated, right? Would you like to be on a ventilator machine or not? So those are some of the key questions when it comes to a health power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, right? So tonight we're going to answer a few questions. Someone have some fresh questions. Can we be a power of attorney for multiple people? Can we be a power of attorney for multiple people? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can be a power of attorney for multiple people, right? If that person trusts you over their affairs, right? But again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have everything in black and white, because by law, when you stand before a judge is going to want they're going to want to see a paperwork, some paperwork with black and white, okay, legally and binding, right? And so, yes, to answer that question, you can represent or be a power of attorney for multiple people. Okay, you can do that. So yes. Someone else wrote, what are common mistakes some people make when setting up a power of attorney? Well, one of the mistakes they make is assigning someone in their power of attorney over their affairs that later down the line things happen, right? That's why it's very important to every year to evaluate your power of attorney. Do you want to still to stay the same, or do you want to change things? Whatever the case may be. But the common mistakes that people make setting up a power of attorney, again, it comes to the trust. It comes to the trust, all right? And knowing that individual, don't just allow anyone to become your power of attorney, right? Or agent, right? Make sure you get a chance to know that person or whatever. And sometimes we don't get a chance to know that person, but we do trust them, right? Someone wrote, how often do you need to update your power of attorney? I just answered that. I would say a year. A year is feasible to do that. And you might want to, some people may do it like every 2 or 3 years, but to me personally speaking, I would like to say 1 year you update your power of attorney, because things in life do change. People, they do get divorced. People move on, right? People pass on, so a lot of different nuances happens in families, right? With children. And so it is best to just look at your life situation and examine, right, and be optimistic and be true about what you're trying to do. Someone say, can you share a real life example of when having a power of attorney made a big difference, or when not having one caused problems? Yes, I can. So maybe, I believe it was around 2008, if my memory serves me well. I was deployed overseas, and I needed my spouse to take care of some personal business for me, right? So she was able to do that because she had the right documentation. She had the durable power of attorney that gave her the right by law, by federal law, to handle all of my affairs when it came to banking, when it came to cashing a check, right? Depositing a check, paying my bills for me in my absence, right? So that was a life example, a real life example of when that power of attorney made a big difference, right, in my life, because I'm in a foreign country, on foreign soil. And my family know, especially my wife know, that I like to pay my bills on time. I don't miss my bills, right? I like to pay my bills on time. Been that way a long time. So someone wrote, so so what happens if a person power of attorney passes away? Okay, that's a very good question. Um, well, there's different things that can happen, right? That's why when you get a power of attorney, right, you can, in that power of attorney, uh, well, let me put it like this here. When your agent or person that's acting on your interests, right, you have that power of attorney, within the verbiage of the power of attorney, right, when you have a power of attorney, you can stipulate in the verbiage, in the event that someone passes away, I uh, I want this person to be over my affairs, right? So you can actually stipulate that. You can add that as a certain clause inside your power of attorney, right? And the agent that actually administered the power of attorney, you can speak to them about that, right? In the event that my spouse pass away, I want my son or my daughter or my grandchild or whatever the case may be to act as a contingent in that matter. So yes, you can actually do that, but you have to, again, it has to be in black and white. And once you get everything how you want it, make sure you have it notarized, right? So most agents that are able to initiate the power of attorney will take care of that for you and notarize that. Someone wrote, great information. I'm learning a lot. Lee from the Bayou. Thank you, Lee from the Bayou. I hope I am giving you information that's going to be beneficial to your life. Again, this channel is to educate and to inform you, right, about things that's very important in our society, in the world that we live. Someone wrote, after a person died, how long will the power of attorney be good for, right? Well, once that person passes on, that durable power of attorney is done and over with, right? After that person have deceased, that power of attorney that they had is over with. It's no longer valid because they no longer exist. They are considered a deceased individual. So you would need no power of attorney over a deceased individual, right? Because during the process of the power of attorney, everything will be stipulated in black and white prior to that individual being deceased. And also within the power of attorney, you can attach wills, like a living will, last will, and testament. You can attach that to it as well. That's another document, however, but they go hand in hand, right? So these are some of the questions that I think is good. How much control do I really give up when I sign a power of attorney? Well, that's a good question. It is. That's why it's so important that you look at your power of attorney. And again, a power of attorney basically it is a legal document that delegate decisions when making powers. So you have to be careful of what you have depicted inside your power of attorney. Like I said on Wednesday, basically that power of attorney, it is someone that you trust. That's the key terminology, to act on your behalf in your absence, right? So even if you have become incapacitated, right? That person represents you. So again, it is very important that you are being represented. And again, it comes down to TRUST, trust, right? Do I trust that person? Can my agent act without telling me first? No, the agent, whoever is over your power of attorney, you're living. That's supposed to be open lines of communication with that agent, right? They're supposed to be open lines of communication. So it's basically like you can actually limit certain things. That's what a limited power of attorney is. Even we talked about how if you can't close on your home, right? You can't afford to attend a home closing, right? There are certain restrictions that you can also include we're talking about going back to a limited power of attorney. There are certain restrictions that you can include, right? That you can assign someone, right? So I hope that answers your question. Can my agent act without telling me first? No, he doesn't supposed to. No, your agent cannot override your personal wishes. No. Your personal wishes will be stated while you're in sound mind and sound body, right? You will state your personal wishes in that legal document. So you can do that. So you already know. And whoever your contingent is, or whoever you have over everything assigned, that person will already know what safeguards should be in place to prevent misuse. Well, that's a good question. Basically, you control your power of attorney. Now, once you pass away and become you're no longer here, right? Now, there are certain states where your power of attorney have certain legal ramifications, right? So every state is different. But as far as the state of Louisiana, right, you are in control of your power of attorney. That document, because you actually in the beginning stages of it, as you're sitting down with your agent, your attorney, and you're getting everything together, it is your responsibility to actually Make sure you have everything documented that's supposed to be documented. That's why it's best to sit down and gather all your information, what you want, right? And that would be the best way to do it. So again, it is up to you to safeguard your own power of attorney document, right? So again, this segment is to answer questions and answers about powers of attorney. We're gonna basically, talk about the durable power of attorney. That's like a basic power of attorney that most people or use, right? Someone wrote, should compensation for the agent be included? Should compensation for the agent be included? Well, no. Once the agent that types up the power of attorney, right? Normally in the civilian world, you might pay them a fee, right? But after that, that's it. It's a one-time deal. Once they type up everything, it's a one-time deal. Or vice versa, they have LegalZoom. Through LegalZoom, you can create your own power of attorney. However, it's best to have it notarized. So if you're looking for that, that's another great option that you can have. I think that's very feasible to you if you want to do that. Any other questions before we conclude on tonight? So I want to say to all of you tonight that tune in to Tiger T's podcast, I want to thank you all for joining in and taking out of your busy schedule. I see Mr. Terrell Thames Sr. said very important information. Thank you, sir. I want to thank all of you that joined on the podcast tonight. And on this podcast, we're going to elaborate on life and life itself. My goal, again, is to inform and educate you on decisions that matters and to unscale or to bring about information that will help you in your life, in your future. And I want to get in one of our next episodes coming up. We're going to talk about buying or purchasing a vehicle. I think that's a very important subject because a lot of people don't have a clue of what they're doing when they go ahead and when they go to the dealership to finance a vehicle. You're looking at a former, as a word, car salesman, sales executive that have sold many vehicles to people from all walks of life. And I can give you verbatim the rundown on how to, or the best way to purchase a vehicle, even to the day of the month, right? And so we're going to elaborate on some of those things in one of our next episodes. So it can save you money, it can save you time, and so you will be happy, right? So again, this is Tiger T's podcast. Let me see if somebody got any other questions in the chat. Someone wrote, Lee from the Bayou, thank you, Tiger T, for the knowledge. Well, this podcast is all about spreading knowledge. It's all about educating you about the nuances of life. And as I said earlier, I'm enamored to come on this podcast to tell you that life can be better for you. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to trust, and you have to have faith, because faith without works is dead. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? So again, this is Tiger T Podcast. We're going to thank you for tuning in tonight on our Q&A segment, our Q&A episode. And as I always say, I will see you on the other side. Have a good night.